May I introduce Dr. Priti Shubhachandra. Dr. Priti has obtained her BSc from National College, Bangalore, MA and MPhil from Kannada Adhyayana Kendra Jnana Bharati, Bangalore University, and PhD from Institute of Kannada Studies, Manasa Gangotri, University of Mysore. She is the recipient of the following awards: Kavyananda Puraskara Award for her book 20th Century Vachana Literature, Matrashri Ratnamma Heggade Award and Harnalli Gauramma Award for her book Srijaneya Moodu, an anthology of her critical papers, S.S. Malavada Award for her work Mahila Adhyayanada Tatvika Nelegalu Mattu Mahila Chalavaligalu, and Professor Preeti's other works are Kunda Kundacharya, Kannadi Kaidivige, Life and Works of Shantinath Desai, and Dr. A.N. Upadhyay. Dr. Priti is a professor of Kannada in the University of Mysore at Manasa Gangotri, Mysore. She has participated and presented research papers in many national and international seminars. She has given lectures in many workshops on women's studies as a resource person. Professor Priti has functioned as a core group member and jury in India Women's Court on Dowry. She has received Akkatai Kalantre Mahila Unnati Award for her contribution to women's studies and Shri Gommateshwara Vidyapitha Award for her literary service.
I humbly convey my regards to Jainder Soniji, Srimati Meera Baindur and Sundar Sarukkuji, the coordinators of this seminar, and the scholarly audience for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on the said subject. My topic is Anti-Yajña representations in Kannada Jaina literature. The Anti-Yajña attitude is directly related to the conceptual distinction between non-violence and violence in Jaina philosophy. The debate between the supporters of Vedic Yajna and opponents go in parallel with the religious history of India. I would like to present the discourse built up by the Kannada Jaina literature on this issue. The very concept of power is followed by violence, the power to create, rule, and destroy. Ahimsa being the essence of Jaina philosophy, there is no place for Trimurtis, Brahma the creator god, Vishnu the protector, Shiva the destroyer. Anantanatha Puranam, a Kannada Champu epic by poet Jaina, very briefly introduces the Lokadrushti, worldview of Jaina philosophy. Arhat Parameshwarana Devara Devana Kevala Jnana Lochanake Gocharamada Loka Prakaramentendode, the world cognized by Arhanta's ultimate knowledge is like this. Ada Kartrikam, Ada Bhartrikam, Ada Hartrikam. The world has no creator, no owner lord, no destroyer. Shri Arya Rakhita Sthavira, in his Anuyogadwaram, categorizes knowledge as worldly and extraworldly. According to him, the spiritual knowledge, the scriptural knowledge, which is worldly, is what ideated through whimsical intellect and thought by those who are ignorant and have perverse beliefs such as Bharata, Ramayana, and the four Vedas. Extraworldly is the basket of books of Ganadharas, which consist of 12 angas composed by Arhats. The songs of Rigveda had their origin in the priestly class. Being the custodian of sacrificial cult, the priesthood stood above the devotees. The patrons of sacrifices were lavishly praised in the Dana Stutis. These yajna sacrificial rites served to build a strong socio-political community among the Aryans and between Aryans and the local inhabitants. The Brahmanas present an enormous amount of religious detail, major part being details of rituals with little moral ethics. The sacrifices were given utter importance instead of fulfilling worldly wishes by pleasing gods, intended of fulfilling worldly wishes by pleasing gods. Ancient tales, myths, and legends were narrated to glorify and explain the worthiness of sacrifice. This intended to glorify the acts of ancient heroes and also to impress the audience, the priestly art. There came a drastic change from Brahmana stage to the stage of Upanishads. Dr. N. Upadhyay gives a clear picture of the Upanishads. In the quote, in the intellectual life of Upanishads, the priest is receding back and almost a new horizon is in view. A note of unity in theology, a complaint against the variety of barren sacrifices and monopoly of all knowledge, setting aside the conventional social disabilities, attempt to explain worldly inequality not from the favor and frown of the gods, but from one's own deeds, and according to the doctrine of transmigration, a gradual ousting of sacrifices and donations by pursuit of higher knowledge and asceticism, use of repeated ethico-moral exhortations to guide man as a member of society. There are some of the outstanding traits of Upanishads which distinguish them from the Brahmanas. After the Upanishad period, we come across the doctrine of transmigration and karma theory. Sacrificial cult was overcome by Atma Vidya. Eminent Kshatriyas who took ascetichood hold superior rank with reverence. The knowledge propounded by the Kshatriya ascetics was not based on Veda and Brahmanas. Before the advent of Aryans into India, a highly cultivated society existed which would have influenced the Aryan thought. In Upadhyay terms this stream of non-Vedic and non-Brahminic thought as Magadhan religion. There is firm distinction between Magadhan, the Shramanic, and the Vedic thought. The Brahminical ethics and morals are based on the caste system, knowledge of Vedic rituals, and reverence for Brahmanas. The ethical ideal of Shramanic ascetic literature is different. Ascetic morality is based on the belief in transmigration, karma theory, which leads to eternal bliss of liberation, the moksha. Bhagavata Purana refers Rishabhadeva, the first Tirthankara. Bhagavatakara, being afraid of people influenced by Rishabhadeva, warns like this: when adharma gains over swadharma, Pakhandi people get attracted to the Maya and will take vows which humiliate Ishwar. Those people will leave holy practices like snana, achamana, etc. They will become nindakas of Brahma, Brahmana, and Yajna. Surely they will fall into hell because of practicing non-Vedic rituals. Rishabhadeva aims to preach moksha marga for men with Raja Yoga. Shatapatha Brahmana orders Brahmin sect of Kuru and Panchala region not to go towards Kashi, Kosala, Videha, and Magadha regions. He warns Brahmins that they would become Dharma Bhrashtas because there is no caste system and animal sacrifice. Rigveda calls the aboriginals of India as Ayajñan, Akarman, Avedyar, Avratin. Shri Amruta Chandracharya, in his Purushartha Siddhupaya, clears the illusions, misconceptions about ahimsa to attain the right and appropriate knowledge of ahimsa. He says, Sukshmo Bhagavad Dharmo Dharmartham Himsanena Doshosti iti Dharmamugdha Rudhayarna Jatu Bhutva Sharirino Himsaha. Kannada translation of this verse with Vyakhyana made by Pandit Padmanabha Sharma runs like this: Lokadal Shubha Dharmavum Bahu Sukshmavai Ditadindalum ನಾಕಪೂಜಿತ ಧರ್ಮನಾಮದ ವೇದಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಕುಬೋಧೆಗಳ ಭೀಕರಾತ್ಮಕ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಪೇಳುವುದು ಪಾಪ ಮಾರ್ಗವೇ ಸತ್ಯಂ ತಾಂ ಲೋಕವಂದ್ಯದ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಮಾತ್ರವೇ ನೈಜದಿಂ ಜಿನಧರ್ಮವೈ. The nature of auspicious Shubha Dharma is very subtle. In the name of Jaina Dharma, which was adorned by the whole world, the celestial world, Veda Shastras preach violence which leads to Papa Marga. The Bhavartha of this verse runs like this. There is a wrong belief that because the dharma propounded by Bhagavan is subtle, doing himsa in the name of dharma is not at all a sinful act. In ancient days, the dharma mudhas sacrificed unlimited living creatures in Gomedha, Ashwamedha, Naramedha yajnas in the name of dharma. They used to call it dharmic himsa, and it is sinless. When this belief became firm tradition, those who didn't agree with this were killed recklessly. Even today, the tradition of killing in the name of dharma exists, which could be stopped by giving the right knowledge of himsa dharma. Vruttavilasa's Dharma Pariksha aims to shed off the illusions practiced in the name of dharma. Though through the satirical narration of the Puranic legends and epics of Vedic faith, Vruttavilasa, a Kannada poet, is highly indebted to Amitagati's Sanskrit Dharma Pariksha. There are several instances of negation, opposition, and ironic criticism of Brahminic Yajna ritual in his work. With the intention of bringing his friend Pavana Vega to the Jaina faith, Mano Vega visits the Vedashala of Pataliputra along with his friend. Critical analysis of other religions is the main aim of Dharma Pariksha works. Mano Vega, the prince, narrates stories of absurd anecdotes and Puranic stories for 8 days to the gathering of Brahmins. The narration of the stories of stupids goes in parallel with the narration of Puranic legends. With this, he succeeds in convincing the gathering about the inconsistencies, contradictions, and false illusions created by Puranic and Vedic knowledge. The Brahminic gods Shiva, Brahma, Krishna, Indra were made a stock of love in these stories. In the sacrifice, Agni and Indra hold supreme position. The story of Animandavya, a Vedic Brahmin, works to destroy this supremacy of Vedic gods. Mandavya, being an aged ascetic, was boycotted by Bhautikas from communal bhojanam, giving reason that he was a putraka. As per the instructions of Vedavakya Krama, he married his widow sister, had a girl by name Chaya. When the couple were about to leave for Tirtha Snana, they got worried about where and with whom they should leave their daughter. Mandavya did not wish to leave his daughter with Shiva and Brahma. Why he rejects Brahma is quite interesting in this story. Long back, when there was no woman folk, from the Cupid-struck Brahma were born 33 crore women. Sati was given to Ishvara and the remaining to the heavenly gods by Brahma. After that, Brahma wished to eat meat, fearing that the wish will not be admired. He thought of eating it with the heavenly gods. He introduced Narayaga, Phaniyaga, Hayayaga, Gajayaga, Karayaga, Goyaga, Mrugayaga, Ajayaga, along with all types of danas, so that performing these yagas will yield the objects wished. The sutras and metrical verses framed by Brahma were known popularly as Vedavakyas. He was honored with the epithet Swayambhu. The cow which was to be sacrificed was described to be an abode of all deities. In the sutras, Mandavya narrates the lustful acts of Brahma and decides to leave his daughter with Yama, the god of Dharma. But Yama also fell in love with Chaya, and he always carried her in his stomach. Being jealous about this, Agni mated with Chaya in the absence of Yama. Just at the moment Yama came, Chaya swallowed Agni and Yama swallowed her. The absence of Agni hindered the Homa Yaga of Dvijas. Vayu managed to expose both Chaya and Agni and Yama. The Brahmins offered 3 seeds to Yama while offering feast. Yama brings out Chaya first. While bringing Agni out, Chaya's beard and mustaches were burnt. On that incident onwards, women didn't have beard and mustache. This is a unique explanation given only in Vrittavilasa's Dharma Pariksha. Being afraid of getting